Welcome back to the Chasing Winners podcast, college football edition. Kyle Masloni here with JP Lyon. As always, we have made it to week 9 of the college football season, which I say it every week. It's going by a little too fast. Now Miami's good at 5-2, so I'm back to the it's going too fast route. Um, JP, we had a game last night. Liberty remained undefeated. I think I took another game adding on to what I did last week.
Yeah, we're not going to count that in the standings just quite yet, because I'm hearing some rumors that there's another 8 points coming in for Western Kentucky based on those helmet graphics. So they might have actually covered the +6. So stay tuned for that one. But last week, as you can see, Kyle had a pretty good week by most standards, not by the podcast standards, but by the regular game standards he did. Kyle went 9-5-1 on games overall, 2-4 on podcast games. Lost his best bet. His leg of the parlay lost. Well, so did mine. But and then I went 7-6-2 overall, 2-4, or I'm sorry, 4-2 on podcast games, and won my best bet. So I take 2 games back from him on podcast games. So I'm only 2 back there, and now I've dropped another game and a half on regular games. So overall, I'm 6 games back. Sad day.
So I just win all the bad games. That's what I'm talking about. Not the bad games. We don't dip low. We don't dip to betting Sam Houston State UTEP in our contest. But yeah, it's usually the 6 best games of the week on this podcast. So I'll take it. Look, what pays out at the end of the season is the overall. Podcast picks are just for pride.
Maybe we should change that. We could change it right now.
I'm good. I'll stick to winning my shitty games.
Yeah.
Starting off the week here, as usual, starting off the week with big noon kickoff. Obviously at noon on Fox. Number 6, Oklahoma on the road to Kansas. I told you this was going to happen multiple times today with these shitty headphones. Oklahoma are 9-point favorites on the road. JP, this almost seems like a what is this line game? I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's quite there to where I could really exaggerate the question, but because they are on the road, but this line seems a little light.
You got like half of a question mark on that. What is this line? Not like the 3 we normally do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you, which side is that on? The what is this line? Where should it be?
I think Oklahoma.
I mean, that might
Actually,
give you.
they did struggle last week, which probably brought down the line a bit. But I think Oklahoma should be at least probably like 10.5, 11.
Yeah, I definitely think if they don't struggle last week, it is. I mean, it honestly might be 12 or 13 at that point. We have another game to play. Is this quarterback healthy?
Oh,
This is
no.
what happens when we don't watch Kansas football games. We don't know if the quarterback is healthy. Ooh, Lance Leipold is very encouraged by progress of Jalen Daniels.
Oh my God, yeah, we're still doing this. I almost forgot he was hurt. It's been a while since I've watched one of their games, to be honest. But
Yeah, he hasn't played in a while. And what I found interesting here is, in a typical what is this line game, based on what we're saying, public is going to be all over Oklahoma. 80% of the public is on Kansas.
wow, they must think Jalen Daniels is playing.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they they just don't believe in Oklahoma anymore after last game. One bad game and that, or one mediocre game. But it's probably enough for me to pick a bounce back here. So I'm going to go Oklahoma -9. And I don't know. I can't really trust Kansas right now without Jalen Daniels. Obviously he's electric. I don't think he'll play. I don't think any quarterback will ever play ever again once they get hurt. So I'm just going to take Oklahoma -9.
At least we won't have to do the is Cam Rising gonna play every single week anymore. At least that one's done. The answer is no, he's not playing.
He might play though.
He might somehow, some way. I mean, coach said he's out for the season at this point, but he may sneak his way in there, bowl game maybe.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm with you here that the public line just kind of affirmed my belief to go OU -9 here. Because yeah, I mean, obviously I guess the public is reading very heavily into last week. There goes the headphone once again. I really need better like ear-in headphones. If a little inside baseball here, I'm using Delta headphones because I'm not going to use Beats over ear headphones for a video podcast, even though I probably should at this
You
point.
look so cool. What do you mean?
But yeah, so just continuing on there, I'm going Oklahoma -9 for pretty much all the same reasons you are. They're going to bounce back here. This Kansas team isn't great without Jalen Daniels. I think the line should be around 11 and a half. So I'm obviously going to take 9.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan Gabriel last week playing UCF for the first time I think that was the first time after leaving there. That's kind of a big game for him. Gets to come back now and show us what he's really capable of. So I think it's a good pick here.
Nice. Moving on. So 3:30 on CBS. We got number 1 Georgia, not on the road, neutral site game as always every year against Florida at Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville. UGA are 14.5-point favorites. JP, is that too wide without Brock Bowers?
It's really tough. It's really tough. I mean, theoretically, no, it's not too wide because Florida's not very good. And they just proved how bad South Carolina is by going to South Carolina and beating them like that.
In October, nevertheless.
In October, as you know.
Yeah.
I did something last week where I took 2 games and I said I feel like one of these will win and one of these will lose, and they ended up both winning. And I have to do the same thing this week. Now I'm way more certain that one of these is going to lose, but I don't see how I can justify taking the other side on both of these games, and I'd like to get one of them right. So I'm going to take Georgia -14.5. I don't really like it. And obviously it's kind of a look ahead spot going to Missouri next weekend.
Oh my God. Big rivalry game, Florida, Georgia, look ahead spot for Missouri. I would be more scared on the other end.
Do you think?
I mean, yeah, I know Florida's not very good this year, but this game is still circled on the calendar. It's a big time rivalry game.
All right, good. You make me feel better about it. Georgia -14.5.
But I say all of that,
No,
and I'm going to go the opposite direction of you. I'm gonna go Florida plus 14.5. I just see this game ending up being like a 10 or 13 point deficit, like Florida keeping it close. The hook really the hook really kills me here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I do this like once a week now, where I'm like, if it's not for the hook, I would probably have gone the other side. But yeah, I'm gonna go Florida plus 14.5 here. I know what they did beating South Carolina by 2 points. It isn't very inspiring, but it's inspiring the way they did it. Coming
Mm-hmm.
all the way back, being pretty much down in the dumps. I had a parlay that came down to South Carolina money line on the last leg, so I was really, really mad about this.
Sure.
And I was very much watching that game. I'm not gonna let Florida just derail me like that again. This team showed a bit of I don't know if it's heart or South Carolina's lack of heart, but but at least they show but at least they showed a bit of heart that day. Maybe I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna say they keep it close here and go for plus 14.5. Although I still don't think they're that good. And these headphones are definitely not good.
You could get the $8 headphones that I'm currently wearing that have lasted me 5 years.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. These were $8 less. Um, moving on here, 3:30 on Fox. The Pac-12 continues bringing us some of the best games of the week. We got number 8 Oregon on the road in Salt Lake against number 13 Utah. This is where College Game Day is going to be this week. Oregon are 6.5 point favorites. We know Cam Rising is not playing now. We don't have to ask the question this week, finally. So so with that said, how do you think this one goes?
Uh, I'm kind of, I mean, obviously I'm torn. Um, I am looking up the result of a specific game that I had. That's what I thought. Okay. Um, I'm looking at this game. Now that you've said that about the hook, I looked and uh, there's 4 games with a hook, one off of a key number right now. So you have 4 opportunities to just choose the side based on the hook. This is another of those games.
I think this may be the last one may have been one of two that I'm basing off the hook.
Okay, so you just told me the rest of your picks, essentially, because I know your pick for this one. Um, I it feels similar to the Utah UCLA game to me, and Utah won that game by 7. They shut down the UCLA offense. Now, granted, Oregon's offense is a lot better. Um, I also think the Utah offense has gotten better. As I just said, the Utah offense was terrible last week, and they scored.
They
Um,
scored on USC though.
yeah,
USC
but I didn't
doesn't
even
play
think they could do
defense.
that. I didn't think they could do that.
USC is like incapable of playing defense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yet, I'm gonna take Utah plus 6.5. I'm gonna
Oh,
go against the hook, and I'm also going against the public. 71% Oregon. Oh, I forgot to mention on the last game. 73% Florida.
oh shit. I'm gonna be so chalk this week probably, or I'm
The
gonna be
next
so square.
the next 3 games are only 58% though, so you're good on those.
Okay. Um, yeah, so I spoiled where I'm going with this one. Not really with the hook thing necessarily, but you knew my pick already for this one based on some conversations earlier today. This it's not happening. I may have to fully change my settings too. Change back to MacBook Pros. Good. Talk so I could test if I could hear you.
Yeah.
I'm really gonna force your editing skills this week.
Oh, I'm not editing any of this.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go Oregon -6.5 here. I could technically say I'm playing the hook, but that's I just realized it could be 3 games where I'm playing the hook based on that. But that's not really the reason here. I would take it at 7. I would take it at 7.5, possible, pretty much as well. I just think they're the much better football team here. I don't know if Utah's offense has improved as much as the last 2 weeks shown against atrocious defenses. Like the Sister Mary School for the Blind could put up 34 points on USC. Arizona State put up 28 on them. The Stanford is the only one that put up less than 14. And then after you get past Nevada's 14, the lowest is 28. My frustrations with picking USC and losing last week, there they are. But but yeah, I'm gonna pick against Utah again, probably against my better judgment. Oregon's one of the best teams in the country. If it wasn't for a few boneheaded calls, they probably would have beaten Washington, and we would have been calling them playoff favorites probably. So
I would like Utah even more if they had done
that. So yeah, I'm gonna go Oregon -6.5 here.
It'd be a good game though.
It should be a good game. It'll be a fun game. Probably, yeah, the game of the week. I would say game day made a good choice. Utah is probably going to be a fun spot to be as well. I don't know about that, but
as fun as it ever is.
Yeah. Moving on down to the ACC country, number 20, 3:30 on ESPN. Number 20 Duke on the road against number 18 Louisville. Both teams looking for pretty big bounce backs off losses here. Louisville are 4.5-point favorites at home. Yeah, a certain result here could actually wildly put Miami back in contention for the ACC. I'm back on this. I'm back on this road.
What do you mean a certain result? They're both one loss, right?
Well, yeah, but we play Louisville head to head. We don't play Duke. So if Louisville wins, we have a chance. Like if Louisville beats Duke, we would be tied with 2 losses.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we would have a chance to bring Louisville down.
I see.
And take it into our own control as opposed to having to hope Duke loses another game.
You just need another UNC Virginia game.
Oh yeah, that's what
that's what you're gonna need.
I need that. I need that to keep happening. Imagine like Florida State losing to. I just hope we don't lose to Virginia this week.
I was gonna say if UVA can, or maybe the other Virginia school can go beat UNC, that'd help you.
Yeah, that
did they already lose to them? They might have.
Let's see.
No, not yet. Well, they don't play them.
They're gonna lose to Clemson and Duke.
There you go, and you just need Duke out of it.
Now I need Duke out of it.
You're gonna finish with 6 teams tied with 2 losses, or no? Florida State's undefeated, and then there's gonna be 6 teams with 2 losses, and you're not gonna know what to do.
Well, no, we have to play Florida State. So this is assuming we somehow play Florida State.
Okay, sure. All right.
which is likely not going to
We're
happen
in.
anyways, and we're not
Never
going to
mind.
have
We're.
this conversation.
I forgot we were in fantasy land. Let's go back to the picks.
Let's go back to the real world here. I made a comment a few weeks ago, specifically about when breaking down the Louisville Notre Dame game, when I said that Duke was the better team than Louisville, and they didn't cover against Notre Dame. So why would I pick Louisville to cover against Notre Dame? Turns out Louisville ended up beating Notre Dame.
They did.
One
of us picked that.
Wait, did Duke end up covering? Oh no, they didn't. Yeah, that's right. One of us picked that. One of us didn't. I was very much on the Notre Dame bandwagon for that game. But but it's tough though. We're back to, is said quarterback playing?
I was just gonna ask.
Is Riley Leonard playing? That could change a lot here. Status uncertain for the Louisville. Here we go again. I feel like that line I feel like it may be built into the line that he's not playing though. Because this very much screams like pick'em game to me. If he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, if they're also factoring in I guess bounce back for both teams.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to take Louisville -4.5. I don't care if Riley Leonard's playing or not. He's going to get hurt again if he does. So for all intents and purposes, he's not playing. So I'm going to take Louisville. Pitt was just a bad matchup for them, and Duke isn't. I don't know. So we're going to take Louisville -4.5.
Pitt was it's weird. They're going straight from letdown spot back into bounce back the game mode because they're also coming off a bye week now. So a lot of factors playing in their favor. They got to stew over that. They got to stew over that awful loss to Pitt for a whole week. But I'm gonna stick to my guns here. I said earlier this year, like I mentioned, that Duke's a better team than Louisville. I feel like I'm going down the NC State last year rabbit hole again. But I'm not saying Duke is the best team in the ACC. All I'm saying is they're better than Louisville. So I'm going to stick to that, and I'm going Duke +4.5. If Riley Leonard plays, I'll feel real good about it. If not, I'll hope and pray.
Just marking down, quote, Duke is the best team in the ACC. Okay.
I didn't say that.
Well, you said some things before that, and then the actual quote.
So you're taking it out of context, is what you're saying.
I would never do that.
You're gonna put.
I would certainly never do that for views on YouTube.
You're gonna put that as the title of the podcast video, aren't you?
Probably not, but it's definitely going in my tweet.
Okay. One of us says Duke is the best team in the ACC, and it's not Kyle.
Or is it?
Or is it? Find out tonight. Yeah, moving down the line here. 7 p.m. ESPN, number 21 Tennessee on the road in Lexington to unranked Kentucky. Tennessee are 3.5-point favorites. Oof. Potential bounce back spot for Tennessee, but they're on the road. Also, Kentucky has lost 2 straight. So what the hell is this line? I think we're there to ask the question. We're like, what is going on here?
You don't like this line? Explain it to me.
I don't like this line because it's a bounce back spot for Tennessee, number one. Number two, you could say it's a bounce back spot for Kentucky, but they've lost 2 straight, not 1. So it's tough to say anything's about a bounce back spot. It could be a spiral spot. I say that, and then Miami recovered from a 2-game losing streak, but yeah. But at the same time, Kentucky has a lot of heart, and they don't usually spiral.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect them to truly spiral. But also, it kind of depends on whether you're getting first half Tennessee from last week. Are you getting second half Tennessee from last week? Because one of those teams will cover.
One of those teams absolutely won't.
So we got a little sidetracked there. I'm looking at Tennessee, Kentucky. And I just don't think Kentucky is going to let things get this out of control. I don't think they'll let Tennessee run away with it. And I'm going to take Kentucky plus 3.5. I'm just going to do it. I don't think the Tennessee defense is going to stand up to Ray Davis, and Leary's going to make enough throws that, yeah, it's Kentucky plus 3.5 for sure.
God, I say what is this line coming in? And then I'm going to go the way where I think the line makes sense. I shouldn't do this. I really shouldn't do this. But I am. I'm going Tennessee minus 3.5. I think Kentucky could keep it close. I think they could keep it maybe within 7, but God, my gut Jesus Christ. I don't know where to go on this game. I'm in a mood now after dealing with someone trying to log into Apple TV accounts.
It's really tough looking at Tennessee a year after, like the last year or two, they've just been this high octane offense, and you think there's no way they should be 3.5-point favorites against Kentucky, and they're just a different team this year. It's really hard to comprehend.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's tough. I mean, yeah, because their base this year has kind of been more of a run game than a pass heavy game in the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking myself into more and more going on the other side because Kentucky has a pretty good rush defense and a pretty good defense in general.
Mm-hmm.
By that statement, I may have just convinced myself to go to the other side. I'm changing my pick live on the podcast. Love when this happens. I'm going Tennessee. I'm going Kentucky plus 3.5.
Join me and 58% of the public.
Let's ride. Let's ride, public. I'm with you for most games this week. So this one shouldn't change much. And then moving on, a game that you probably thought we weren't going to talk about after a comment last week that we'll never have to talk about this team again on the podcast. And the funny thing is, I agreed with you. I agreed with you wholeheartedly, but here we are. 7:30 NBC, number 3 Ohio State. We get to hear the annoying Fall Out Boy song. Here we go. Number 3 Ohio State on the road against unranked Wisconsin. Ohio State are 14.5-point favorites. JP, I'm giving you the floor to talk about Wisconsin as much as you want to.
Wisconsin won last week and covered for my best bet. All right, so we can move on to the best bets section because that's all I want to talk about. I have to look at this game from a bigger perspective than last week, unfortunately. But all my brain wants to do is say Wisconsin might keep it close. And Wisconsin maybe has something going with this Locke kid at quarterback. And they still have Braden Allen or whatever his name is. But the running back is still obviously great. But when you look at Ohio State and they just don't give up points, I can't in good conscience pick against them again. Now I won with them last week, but the week before that I had Purdue. That sucked. I had Notre Dame before that. That sucked. And I just don't enjoy picking against them. So, and I hate Wisconsin. So this makes total sense for me. I hate Ohio State too. That doesn't really help. But Ohio State minus 14.5. This is my pick. Between this and Georgia, I know at least one's going to lose, but maybe one won't. So I'm taking Ohio State minus 14.5. Isn't that a good strategy? I think it is.
Oh, it's a good strategy to hedge by going because you think it's going to go 1-1, so it might go 2-0.
I mean, can I sit here and pick Florida and Wisconsin? No, that's idiotic. It's probably what you're going to do.
I'm actually not going to pick Wisconsin. Because I think you're right. This is a different makeup of an Ohio State team. They don't give up points. I mean, they've been impressive all year. Just looking, they have not given up more than 17 points in a game. And if Wisconsin can't score 17 points, which I think they're absolutely not scoring 17 points against Ohio State, knock on wood. I don't think it really gives them a shot to cover then. I don't think it gives them a shot to cover 14.5. So logic says now it's on the road, prime time. They're going to be jumping around, the whole Wisconsin thing up there. But my mind, my brain says, and Wisconsin sucks too. They do. So bad.
I'm trying to think of I think it was Washington State when they were down at least 2 scores going into. No, they were only down 2 then. There was a game in the last couple of years where they were down a ton and they just started doing the jump around. And it was just the saddest jump around you've ever seen. I loved it so much. I want one of those. I want one of those this week.
Oh no, Iowa scored in the fourth to take a lead on them. I was like, was it Iowa?
It wasn't Iowa. I would have remembered that more vividly. I don't remember when it was, but it must have been last year.
But by the way, cannot believe Iowa lost last week and the under hit. Oh my God. But
yeah.
But yeah, I'm going Ohio State minus 14.5 right with you. I hope I don't have to be tuned into NBC for very long because there are better games going there. I hope I don't have to watch Wisconsin for that long.
Agreed. Let's never talk about them again. We're probably going to talk about them next week.
Who are they playing next week?
I have no idea. I didn't know they play Ohio State this week. Just an unfortunate coincidence.
Looking at the rest of the schedule, we may be safe after this week. We may not talk about them ever again.
You don't think Wisconsin Northwestern's a big game?
No, I don't think Wisconsin Nebraska is either.
Maybe for the Axe.
Oh, it's a trophy game.
See, there you go.
Yeah, you just got me.
Probably gonna be better trophy games that week. I hope.
Yeah, that one is not a prime trophy game. Moving on to best bets here. JP, what is your best bet of this week?
So I was looking at this game. I had a couple games in mind, and one of them will be featured next. But for best bets, I was looking at this SEC game. And the last couple games for this team are really bad loss, and then a win over possibly the worst team in the SEC. And I don't know if you watched Mississippi State beat Arkansas 7-3, but I actually kind of did. And I didn't even realize what I was watching because I had 5 games on and I wanted to fill out the other screen, so I just threw that on my laptop. And then I looked up after the game and I was like, oh my God, that was 7-3. That was just such a horrible game, and I never realized it. So I don't think Mississippi State's very good. Can you confirm?
I don't think they're very good. I think Arkansas is in a really bad shape, though.
Arkansas is very bad, but I don't think Mississippi State's very good either. So they go to Auburn this week, 6.5-point dogs. I'm looking at the Auburn Tigers, 6.5-point favorites. That's my best bet this week. Mississippi State might not score. They might not.
Tough to bet on a team that legitimately may not score a point.
I mean, if Georgia only scored 20-something against Auburn, then I don't know how Mississippi State's going to score any.
And that was with Brock Bowers playing?
Correct. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, Auburn minus 6.5. Over to you.
My best bet of the week is a game that we already talked about. I'm going Oregon minus 6.5 as my best bet of the week. I'm pretty confident in this one. So watch Utah just hold them to 7 points. But just like the Utah UCLA game, am I right? But
if I get a 14-7 exact score on that, I deserve some sort of trophy.
You do. You'll get the oh man, I'm trying to think of a funny trophy. You'll get the Jewel Shillelagh.
Thanks.
Although that's the USC Notre Dame trophy, so that makes 0 sense. But we'll give it to you anyways. So yeah, my best bet pick is that, and we're also bringing something back this week. I actually agreed on it this time.
A lot of people have been clamoring for it, Kyle.
Yeah, I know. All 30 love it.
The 30 viewers loved the podcast Pteaser. It is back for week 9.
For the podcast Pteaser, I'm throwing, obviously we're teasing down 6 points, so I'm throwing Oregon money line in there. JP, what are you throwing in there?
I'd just like to say it concerns me so much that after doubling down with Iowa last week, you're just doubling down again. It's just terrifying to me. And it's only because you're so lazy you can't pick 2 games. You can't even pick 1 game. You just picked from the podcast. Anyway, I am throwing Minnesota.
It was my favorite bet of the week. What am I supposed to do? Not pick it? Actually, my favorite bet of the week was Jacksonville State tonight. But I'm not going to throw in a game that already happened.
I think that was actually a pretty good pick.
Well, it's close right now. It's 17-16. The line is 9, so it's.
The line was 26 when we started.
Well, I don't know what the live line is. I mean, the actual line is 9.
Oh.
We're within 11. So FIU are within striking distance.
Gotcha. Live line is 13 now. So for my leg of the podcast Pteaser, I'm taking Minnesota. They're playing Michigan State at home. They are 7-point favorites, so we're teasing it down to 1. Kyle's words before we recorded were, I actually really like that. So we are rolling with Oregon and Minnesota, minus 120 at DraftKings. So you got to love the podcast Pteaser going for its first win of the year and to get us back to negative 0.12 units on the year.
That would be really nice to get back to negative 0.12. That seems like a special number. That almost seems Jeff Fisher-y. in a way.
Well, we were at 0.05 last week. That's closer to Jeff Fisher.
Well, yeah, but oof.
Let's see. We're 3-5 on the parlay on the year at negative 0.95 units.
This is the week.
I think the podcast teaser is prime for a win here.
0-1 on the year. Let's make it 1-1. Although I'm just going like all in on Oregon, which terrifies JP because I suck at my best bets.
And I'm on Utah.
Yeah. Shit.
So that tells you that Minnesota will lose.
I got you stuck with betting both sides on the Utah Oregon game.
I have no issue with that. then I can't lose.
You also can't win.
That's true in general.
Actually, you could win both.
No, yeah, I know.
It's possible.
I won't. I won't win.
Yes, you will. Have faith.
I have no faith, Kyle. I am 58, 57, and 2 on the year. I have no faith.
You're so Jeff Fisher.
But it's not winning.
58, 57, and 2. What's my total record?
65, 52, and 4.
That's pretty good.
6 games. That's 56%.
Yeah, that's profitable. Exactly.
I realized, because I'm doing something like this with my buddies where we just pick a side and total on every NFL game. And I looked at it this week, and I'm hitting like 58% when I just pick everything. And I can't bet NFL because I suck at it. And I've lost the most money of any sport on NFL, and now I'm picking it well. I don't understand how that works.
It comes and it goes.
Well, it's just that I'm not putting money on it.
Well, yeah, there's that too.
I think that's the key.
The key is to just never bet the NFL.
The key is to not bet. If you've lasted this long, the key is not betting. Don't gamble. It's bad.
Yet here we are doing a whole podcast about college football gambling.
Now I can put that this video is for kids because I said gambling is bad.
Yes. Get the algorithm going.
Yeah.
Gambling is bad, but we do it anyways.
Mm-hmm. What are you up to this weekend?
I am going down to the Miami UVA game. It might seem like a weird one considering I wasn't at the Clemson game last week, but it is homecoming week, which means that on campus on Friday there is, number one, like a huge party throughout the day. Number two, then at 7:00 starts an open bar for alumni.
Just for alumni.
Well, yeah.
Not for students.
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, the students drink at the bar that's like right next door.
But is it free?
No.
Oh, I'd be pissed if I was a student.
Well, the open bar isn't free either. You got to pay $75 for entry, but.
Oh, okay. I thought it was free liquor.
but it's an open bar at some point. And then come 8:30, there's a bunch of fireworks over our lake on campus. You might have seen it on College Game Day or ACC Huddle. It's in the background there. The few times we were on those. And then we put a wooden boat in the lake with a UVA flag on it, since that's who we're playing this week. And we light it on fire. And if the mast goes down, as it always does, Miami will win the football game tomorrow.
If the mast goes down, is there a way for it not to go down?
No.
Huh.
So don't say Miami doesn't have tradition.
I don't think anyone was saying that. Their tradition this year is you going to games and then they lose them.
No, I went to games that I'm 2-1 at games this year.
Uh,
I went to A&M.
I forgot we went to A&M. Yep. Okay.
I went to Temple. Temple away, never forget.
Yep.
And then I went to Georgia Tech. That was the tragedy.
Okay. This won't be a tragedy.
I hope not. We'll see.
It's not a fired up Virginia team.
Well, the mass is gonna fall, so we can't lose.
I would love to see just a Virginia person that just puts the wrong mast in there so it floats. Just floats straight up and you're like, oh no.
Oh no. We're gonna lose.
I wonder who I could get to do that.
Well,
I'll have to look into that.
That is a 3:30 game on ESPN if you want, or on ACC network. Sorry, if you want to see if I struggle or not. A lot of ACC network games this year for us.
Why is that?
Well, it's not because we're bad, because we're 5-2.
I don't know. 6th place in the ACC doesn't seem very good.
Well, yeah, that's because we've only played 3 ACC games. But JP, what are you doing this weekend? Anything going on?
I get to watch pretty sicko game in Iowa State Baylor this week.
Oh my God.
Baylor opened as 1-point favorites, and since then, 97% of the public has taken Iowa State, and they've moved the line to Iowa State -2.5.
Hey, that might be a good thing.
I don't think that's a good thing.
97% of the public?
That's what it said on Action.
Jesus Christ.
It's one of the highest numbers I've ever seen.
I know it's only Wednesday, but Jesus.
Yeah. Like Rice is 95% of the public on them +10.5 against Tulane, but I haven't seen any other. Oh, Troy is 97% favored against Texas State.
Oh my
anyway, I got flag football in the morning, and then I'm going to watch that, and I might golf next week, or I might golf Saturday. I need to golf one more time before I leave for Hawaii next week.
So you're not going to golf in Hawaii?
Well, I'm going to golf in Hawaii. I need to be good before I golf in Hawaii. So
got it.
Now that ship has sailed, I'm going to just get maybe a little better.
But golfing on Saturday, you should push that off to Sunday. Oh well, Sunday's church and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough.
A lot of things to do.
Yeah, busy schedules. I'll just be watching college football.
I need to get back to that.
That damn work thing gets in the way of doing everything else during the week. It
really does.
Sucks. Except recording this podcast. We managed to do it every week, which is a record.
I look forward to 2 weeks from now. Somehow I'm going to find a way to do it from a hotel in Hawaii. So I deserve a Medal of Honor for that. Just forsaking my Hawaii vacation at like 2 p.m. to record a podcast.
Damn right.
For 30 viewers. That's incredible.
That's dedication right there. On that note, just salute to JP, number one. Number two, hope everybody enjoys the games this week. As always, I know I'll enjoy being down in Miami. I'll probably be a little hungover for our actual football game, which is interesting, which means I just have to wake up early and drink more. So
yeah.
So best of luck everybody this week. Have a good one.
See y'all.